Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to these reminders of Ramadan. Today we start the last part of Ramadan. We are within the last 10 days, and I'm going to focus on Laylatul Qadr. So I'm going to remind you about Laylatul Qadr. We know about Laylatul Qadr since there is an ayat that Allah revealed in which the benefits of Laylatul Qadr they are highlighted. And you all know, I assume you all know the ayat, and you understand the importance granted to this day, extraordinary day, that is better than 1,000 months. It is said by the hadith of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that the prayer during this night is better than praying during 1,000 months. So this is big. It's an extraordinary day and an extraordinary night. It is known also that during these last 10 days of Ramadan, Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went into itikaf. So during these 10 days, he retrieved, sometimes in his own house, sometimes in the mosque, and he devoted all the night to the prayer. About the night of Laylatul Qadr, when is the day, a lot has been spoken. We have hadiths that refer to Laylatul Qadr as the 29th, the 27th, the 25th, the 23rd, the 21st, the 19th, and even the last day of Ramadan. So we don't know which day it is. And the best thing I have heard of on the matter is from one sheikh of Tasawwuf, that one of the teachers in our tariqah, and he said, instead of trying to find the day of Laylatul Qadr, let Laylatul Qadr find you. And the meaning of this is you are prepared for all the 10 nights, just like it seems Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did. Take the 10 days and do itikaf. In other words, prepare yourself to spend the night in salah. And that solves the problem of the timing. So the best attitude, therefore, is to take these last 10 days of Ramadan and seek this powerful night, this night of power, in which kulli amr, all the commands will descend by the angels and the ruh, meaning in most of the commentaries, Jibril, the angel Jibril. So we have during this Ramadan, these reminders, we have been speaking generally about the matters that should be of concern for all of us during this month of Ramadan, starting from the prayer itself. So this is a month of prayer, and this is a month of prayer in which it has been said particularly, especially in regard to Laylatul Qadr, that the best dua to be made during this night is, "Oh Allah, pardon me," because through in the hadith of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, mentioned by Ibn Kathir, and he stretches the idea that during this special day, Allah, if you spend it in prayer, Allah will pardon all your sins. So it is being said that the best dua is, "Oh Allah, pardon me." And we spoke about tawbah and what is the meaning of tawbah. We, unlike the Christians, we don't build our existence on guilt, but on changing. So in other words, the attitude is on the positive undertaking of not committing the same sin again. And associated with the seeking of tawbah is precisely the fundamental matter of sincerity. Everything stands on sincerity, and we have spoken about this over the last few days in relation to yaqeen, tawakkul, sabr, and muhaba, in order to try to understand what it is that is at stake when we speak about sincerity, and how this is the fundamental element of the prayer. This is what validates the prayer. That's what gives meaning to the prayer, which in this month of prayer and in these last 10 days of prayer is the best thing that we can do for ourselves. Now, on account of these special 10 days that we have, a gift that we have for us of Laylatul Qadr, and these 10 days, for if you undertake the 10 days, if you think of the 10 days as any one of them is going to be, then with the same degree of sincerity, you will throw yourself into the prayer and get the best out of it. Now, the prayer, as we have said many times, is not just a ritual, but is worship, and that means it is essentially labor of the heart. Is what you are looking for these 10 nights, this gift of 10 nights that we have ahead of us, is to increase the quality of our prayer. And this is directly to do with our sincerity. And our sincerity, the sincerity is precisely how the heart opens to the nearest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have said many times before that sincerity is not an idea, so it's not simply something that you say to yourself, but is manifested in how you behave. And knowledge without action is not knowledge in the first place. The tajreed, which is the quality of one of the fundamental qualities of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was a man who kept a distance from the things of the desire of dunya. He didn't accumulate, he didn't gather, he didn't become a king, he didn't become rich, even though he had all the possibilities to do it. He decided to live in poverty, a poverty that it will make any one of us pale in comparison, for he indeed lived in a state in which for many of us it will be absolute poverty. He didn't have food at times from one day to the next. He didn't accumulate in that way, but he gave and gave and gave and gave and gave. Now, tajreed, this separation, this distance, to put distance over dunya, is to put distance over the sensory, over the world as it appears to us from a sensory point of view, and to gain understanding of the meaning of things. Now, the meaning of things means that everything has significance, not on account of our necessity, but on account of what Allah has granted to this world. The world has meaning because of Allah, not because of us. We are not the center of the universe. In this tradition of ours, of the West, of the world is the center of the world, the humanist tradition of everything has meaning according to us, is Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came with the deen of transforming all that, and to remind us and to bring the deen of understanding that what matters is not our opinion of the world, but the opinion that Allah has of the world. He is the one that gives meaning to existence. It is his laws that matter, not the laws that we make, not our necessities as seen from our perspective, but the necessities that Allah has put upon us by his commands. That is at the center of understanding, and knowing it and acting upon it. That is sincerity. Now that's a horizon in which we want to see ourselves, because Laylatul Qadr is unique. Ramadan is unique. And Laylatul Qadr is unique also in the sense that no other religion has understanding of this. It's a gift of the secret of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Is he has given us the opportunity of understanding this that is unknown to the Christians, to the Jews, and to all the other religions before. We have knowledge of Ramadan, we have knowledge of Laylatul Qadr because of him. Imitating him is of the nature of understanding the meaning of this extraordinary night, of which is stronger, better than 1,000 months. And in order to benefit from it, we have to acquire the same conditions. We have to imitate, we have to emulate Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself. So in as much as we try to, with our heart, to become as sincere as we can, and to make these prayers, during this time, to sincere ourselves with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the model in which we reflect ourselves, the pattern in which we see ourselves, in order to know that our prayer is sincere, is Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The Sufis will say, we want to imitate what he did, and we want to imitate the state of the heart of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We want to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the way he did. This is in the meaning of things. This is on account of not only the things he did with his hands, but the state of his heart. Emulating the heart of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That means to look into our own heart and try to purify it, and try to get rid of anything which is not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And both, in as much as we are capable of achieving this, and we move forward in the desire of making our sincerity grounded in this path that is a continuous improvement, in the same way in which the prayer is a continuous improvement during this month and during this night, that we don't know when it is during the next 10 days. We want to sincere ourselves with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whatever it is that we can achieve and we can walk in this path, it will be increased and it will be blessed. And whatever it is that you have tried in the past and you couldn't move forward, and you find yourself in difficulty, this month and these last 10 days and one day from within them is going to make it easier for you. And that's why we want to spend as much as possible during these nights that they remain of Ramadan in prayer. And remember this: when you do one prayer in public is one affair which is blessed and is rewarded, and there is a lot of benefits from it to do it together with the group. But there is also benefit in doing it on your own and in the repetition. Only when you are on your own you can do 10 and 20 and 40 and 50 and 60. You can throw yourself into the prayer, and there is a cumulative effect in the prayer. The first prayer, which opens yourself in the way of ihsan, is to realize that even though You cannot see Allah, but He is watching you, and you become aware of His presence, and you feel His presence, and then you stand up again, and then you repeat, and then you repeat, and then you bow, and then you go to sajda, and then you feel back the presence of Allah until the tears come. Go, and then you repeat again, and you stand again, and then you continue. During these 10 days, you will obtain benefits that they will be magnified. So whatever it is that there is sincerity in you, it will stand farther. And that's how you benefit from it, is in the repetition, in the dhikr, in the continuity of being in the middle of the night, absent, like a halwa. Nobody bothers you, nobody's going to call you, you don't have to go anywhere, you don't have to go and do something, visit somebody. You are on your own with your beloved. You are closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you seek this closeness. This month is for that, these 10 days is for that. Don't miss it. Throw yourself into it with every piece of sincerity that there is in any cell of your body. Open your heart to Him full-heartedly, and you will obtain, by the mercy of Allah, opening. Persist and continue, for in the repetition there is benefit. It's like a drum that you hit and hit and hit and hit, and at some point it kind of starts reverberating so strongly that it kind of opens up. And the science of it is precisely to feel overwhelmed by the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When these things happen to you and the tears flow on you, remember to ask Allah for forgiveness. For that is what Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam recommended us to do. This Kuli Amr, Allah forgives everything that you have done. And forgiveness for us is tawbah. It's not to get rid of the things that we have done wrong. Is to install in our hearts the courage to fulfill the obligations that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us as a gift, as an empowerment. For the Sharia, everything that Allah has given us is empowerment, is to give us the strength and to give us the understanding to lead the nations, and to seek this courage to do the things that we were not capable of doing before. And if you sincerely seek this, wisdom, understanding, clarity, and strength to act upon the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these 10 days that are left of Ramadan, this is the best time in the year in order to achieve it. So embrace it. Embrace it with everything that you have, with the best of you, and you will achieve benefits from it. That it will transform the way of the rest of the year. So we are just entering into the last 10 days. Let me remind you of the importance of Laylatul Qadr. And let me remind you that it is all a gift for you. And if you love Allah, you will love to follow the commands of Allah. For these two things go together, and to understand it. To understand that Allah is in command of the world. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. That is the encouragement, all the encouragement you need in order to fulfill your duties. All that is now coming. So use these nights wisely and throw yourself into the prayer and repeat the prayer until Fajr. And hopefully Allah will recognize your sincerity and reward you in the best way that He knows how to reward. Al-Fatiha. Bisirri wa barakati. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم.